Hey friends, happy Thursday morning. It is going to be a beautiful, beautiful day. I tell you what, I am so glad to be back running. I had to take a few days off. And if you're not a runner, you're probably saying, well, I bet you enjoyed those 3 days off. I tell you what, only runners will understand the compulsion to get out there and run. Active recovery is very hard for a runner. We don't do well with rest days. That's just the way it is. But throughout, finally I have matured as a Christian. I'm not where I need to be, but I'm not where I was yesterday, and I'm certainly not where I was when I was a new believer. And I would get these twitches, and I would just run through it, and then I would reap the consequences. Finally, the Lord has finally given me some patience now that I've learned to abide in Him. And I tell you what, I reap the rewards of that patience, because taking a couple days off will keep you from having to take a few months off. But that was one of the reasons I was so happy last night, because I finally got to sign Larry up for a 5K. Now, if you're saying, well, Larry's run marathons, what's the deal about a 5K? Well, the deal is 8 weeks ago, Larry had a full knee replacement. And taking 8 weeks off has been extremely hard, for a person that's used to going. And, as runners, we understand this, that taking time off is very hard. But, as Larry has matured in his walk with Christ, this fruit of the Spirit, this patience has just manifested in him, and I tell you what, if you think you can get the patience without going through trials and tribulations, you can't. There's really no other way. In Hebrews 12:1, it says that since we are surrounded by such a cloud of witnesses, let us throw off the weight and the sin that ensnares us, and let us run the race with patience. That's what it says. Run the race with patience. The race set before us. And this patience is not this enduring, sitting back and gritting your teeth, saying, "Oh, I can't wait till this trial is over." This is the patience that Paul was talking about. This is the restful. It's an eager expectation. It's waiting, knowing that God is going to take care of us through this, and God is going to work something out in us, and that in the end, the promise of Romans 8:28 is going to come to pass, that God works all things for the good of those who love Him and are called according to His purpose. This is the only way that we can practice this eager expectation. It's an active restfulness, and it's where we may not be physically able to run the race, but we don't stop what we're doing. The whole time that Larry's been off, he's done these deep dives into the Bible. He's been growing his knowledge. He's been growing his love for the Lord. This was not wasted time. On the contrary, Larry came out better for it. And this is why it was such a joy to see him, because a couple weeks ago, he's starting to feel better. And every runner knows the minute we get over an injury, we want to just take off, right? But he didn't. He asked his physical therapist, he said, "Hey, do you think it'd be okay for me to walk a 5K? Physical therapist said, "No, you're not ready for that." The next week he came back and he said, "How about now? Am I ready to walk a 5K? He said, "No, Larry, you're not ready for that." And just this week he went on a Monday and he said, "Hey, am I ready to walk a 5K? And his physical therapist said, "Yeah, Larry, you are, if you listen to your body." And I have no doubt that he will do that. So last night when we got him signed up for the Heroes, he was just beaming. But anyway, this is the point, guys. We will go through trials in this life, and we will wonder, why am I going through this, Lord? Why am I going through this? And we will we will kick against the goads. And what I mean by that, in Acts 26:14, Paul, who used to be Saul, he was persecuting Christians, and the Lord had, wanted to get his attention. But like a lot of people like me who are stubborn, he had to knock him off his horse. And while he was laying there on the ground, he lost his sight, and he heard Jesus say to him, "Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me?" And he went on to say, "It is hard to kick against the goads." Paul had been kicking against the goads. Paul was a stubborn ox in the same way that I was, the same that most believers were, because kicking against the goads, what this meant is that there was a farmer would have had the two oxen together, right? But every once in a while, and this is how they plowed the field in a straight line, but every once in a while you'd have a stubborn oxen, and the goad was a stick that he prodded them to go the right way. And so the farmer would have to keep kicking or pricking and pricking and pricking them, and this stubborn oxen would just kick against the goad, just continue to kick and kick and kick, and all it was doing was hurting itself, because the farmer was going to have his way. And this is the same deal when we say, "Lord, I don't want to go through this trial. I don't want to do this." All we do is kick against the goads. When we settle down and we say, "Okay, Lord, okay, I'm going to trust you in this. I'm going to patiently wait in eager expectation of what you're going to do through this and what's going to come out on the other side. And most of all, Lord Jesus, I'm going to keep the love, the joy, the peace, all those other attributes of the Spirit, so that I don't lead other people astray, that they see by my example that I trust in you." I tell you what, it's easy to follow the Lord when we're on the podium, when we're winning races. The hardest part is when we're not, when we're called to have patience. So guys, I really, really hope that blesses you. But more than anything, no matter what you're going through today, I hope that just inspires you to have that hopeful, eager expectation to patiently wait on on the Lord, just trusting in his timing, his provision, and his purpose. So guys, I really, really hope that blesses you. I'm going to finish up my run and get off to the best job ever. It is going to be a great day.